Before you scroll any further, take a close look at the quarters in your pocket. One of them could be hiding a story worth far more than just 25 cents. Most people spend these coins every day without a second thought, but a few rare Washington quarter dollars have become some of the most sought-after coins in American history. In today's video, I'm revealing the top 3 Washington quarter dollar coins that every collector dreams of finding. These aren't just old coins. They're coins with fascinating histories, rare mint eras, low mintages, and unique features that have made certain examples sell for astonishing prices at auction. But here's something important. Not every coin from the same year is valuable. Small details like the mint mark, condition, strike quality, and rare eras can make the difference between an ordinary quarter and a highly collectible one. That's why you should never judge a coin by its appearance alone. So before you spend your next quarter, stay with me until the end. One of the 3 coins you're about to see might already be sitting in your wallet, your coin jar, or an old family collection, and knowing what to look for could completely change the way you see everyday pocket change. Let's get started with coin number 1. 1985 D Washington quarter dollar. What if I told you that a quarter most people ignore every single day could actually be one of the most collectible modern Washington quarters in high grade? Today, we're taking a closer look at the 1985 D Washington quarter, a coin struck at the Denver Mint that many collectors search for, not because every example is rare, but because finding one in exceptional condition can be surprisingly difficult. At first glance, this coin looks completely ordinary. It features the familiar portrait of George Washington on the front, designed by John Flanagan, while the reverse displays the classic eagle design that represented the Washington Quarter series for decades. The small D mint mark tells us this coin was produced at the Denver Mint. In 1985, more than 519 million of these quarters were struck, making it a very common circulation coin. Because of that, most examples are only worth their face value of 25 cents. So why do collectors still care about it? The answer is simple: condition. Most 1985 D quarters entered circulation immediately and spent years passing from one person to another. They collected scratches, worn edges, faded details, and countless marks. Truly sharp, beautifully preserved examples are much harder to find. Professional grading services carefully inspect these coins under magnification. A coin with brilliant luster, strong details, and almost no contact marks can receive a very high mint state grade. Those are the coins serious collectors compete to own. Auction records show that top-graded 1985 D quarters have sold for far more than their face value, proving that quality can make an ordinary coin extraordinary. But that's not all. Some collectors also search for unusual mint errors on 1985 D quarters. Off-center strikes, clipped planchets, doubled dies, or dramatic strike errors can make an otherwise common coin much more desirable. Genuine mint errors are uncommon and should always be authenticated before assuming they are valuable. So before you spend an old 1985 D quarter, take a closer look. Check the mint mark, examine the details, and inspect both sides carefully. You may not have a fortune, but you could have a coin that's worth much more than 25 cents to the right collector. In the next part, we'll explore exactly what features increase the value of a 1985 D Washington quarter and the mistakes collectors should avoid when checking one. Now that you know why collectors pay close attention to the 1985 D Washington quarter, let's talk about what separates an ordinary coin from one that could attract serious collector interest. The first thing to examine is the coin's overall condition. Look closely at George Washington's hair, the lettering around the rim, and the eagle's feathers on the reverse. On well-preserved coins, these details should appear sharp and well-defined. Heavy wear, scratches, or dull surfaces usually reduce a coin's value. Next, check for the original mint luster. A coin that still shines with its original surface can be much more desirable than one that has been cleaned or polished. In fact, cleaning a coin often lowers its value because collectors prefer natural surfaces. Another important factor is the strike quality. Even though millions of 1985 D quarters were produced, not all were struck equally. Some coins show stronger details than others because of differences in the striking process at the mint. Collectors often seek examples with crisp, fully struck details. Now let's discuss mint errors. While genuine errors are uncommon, they do exist. Some examples include off-center strikes, clipped planchets, die cracks, and other production mistakes. These coins are much scarcer than normal circulation pieces, which is why authenticated error coins can attract significant interest from collectors. If you think you've found an unusual 1985 D quarter, avoid cleaning it or attempting to repair it. Instead, compare it with a normal example and consider having it examined by a professional grading service. Many people overlook old pocket change simply because it appears ordinary, but experienced collectors know that small details can make all the difference. Careful inspection is one of the most valuable skills in coin collecting. So, is every 1985 D Washington quarter worth a fortune? The honest answer is no. Most circulated examples are worth only their face value. However, coins preserved in exceptional mint state condition, or those with verified mint errors, can be worth much more to collectors than ordinary circulation pieces. That's why it's always worth taking a closer look before spending an older coin. A quick inspection could reveal something that many people would never notice. If you discover a quarter with unusual features, don't rush to sell it online or assume it's extremely valuable. The best approach is to have it authenticated and professionally graded. A trusted grading service can confirm whether the coin is genuine, identify any mint errors, and assign an official grade that helps determine its market value. Remember, successful coin collecting isn't about believing every viral claim you see on the internet. It's about learning the history of each coin, understanding how to recognize important details, and making informed decisions based on facts. The 1985 D Washington quarter may look like an ordinary piece of pocket change, but it reminds us that even common coins can become highly collectible when they survive in outstanding condition or display genuine mint errors. Coin number 2, 1994 P Washington quarter dollar. Now it's time for coin number 2, a Washington quarter that millions of Americans have handled, yet very few people have ever stopped to examine closely. At first glance, the 1994 P Washington quarter looks like nothing more than an ordinary 25-cent coin. It has the familiar portrait of George Washington on the front and the classic eagle design on the reverse. Because so many of these quarters entered circulation, most people never imagined they could have any collector interest. But experienced coin collectors know that appearances can be deceiving. While most 1994 P quarters are worth only face value, certain examples stand out because of their exceptional condition, strong strike quality, or genuine mint errors. Those are the coins that collectors search for and in some cases are willing to pay significant premiums to own. So before you dismiss a 1994 P quarter as just another pocket coin, let's discover what makes some of these coins far more interesting than most people realize. Now that we've introduced the 1994 P Washington quarter, let's take a closer look at the details that collectors pay attention to. The first thing to check is the P mint mark, located on the obverse of the coin near George Washington's ponytail. This mark tells us the coin was struck at the Philadelphia Mint, one of the busiest mints in the United States. In 1994, hundreds of millions of these quarters were produced, which means most examples are still very common. So why are collectors interested in this coin? The answer lies in quality and rarity. When these quarters were released into circulation, they passed through thousands of hands. Over time, many became scratched, worn, or damaged. That's why finding a 1994 P quarter with its original mint luster, sharp details, and almost no contact marks is much more difficult than many people think. Professional grading services carefully examine every detail. A coin that earns a very high mint state, MS, grade can be worth much more than an ordinary circulated example because collectors compete for the finest known pieces. Another reason collectors examine every 1994 P quarter is the possibility of genuine mint errors. Although they are uncommon, errors such as off-center strikes, die cracks, clipped planchets, strike-through errors, or other verified minting mistakes can make a coin much more desirable. These errors happen during the minting process, not after the coin entered circulation. However, it's important not to mistake damage for a mint error. Scratches, dents, corrosion, or alterations that occurred after the coin left the mint usually do not increase its value. That's why experienced collectors compare suspected error coins with normal examples and often seek professional authentication before reaching conclusions. One of the biggest mistakes new collectors make is cleaning their coins. A shiny cleaned coin may look attractive, but cleaning often removes the original surface and can reduce collector value. Most experts recommend leaving a coin exactly as it was found. So if you come across a 1994 P Washington quarter, don't rush to spend it. Take a few moments to inspect the date, mint mark, strike quality, and overall condition. Even though most examples are ordinary, careful observation is one of the most important skills in coin collecting. In the final part of this video, we'll discuss what to do if you think you've found an exceptional 1994 P quarter, how collectors determine its value, and the key lessons every coin hunter should remember before adding it to a collection. Now we've reached the final part of coin number 2, and it's time to answer the question every collector asks. Could your 1994 P Washington quarter actually be worth more than 25 cents? The answer is yes, but only under the right circumstances. Most 1994 P quarters that have spent years in circulation are worth only their face value. However, coins preserved in exceptional mint state condition or those with authenticated mint errors can attract much stronger interest from collectors. If you think you've found a special example, start by checking the coin under good lighting. Look carefully at the date, the P mint mark, the lettering, Washington's portrait, and the eagle on the reverse. Sharp details, original mint luster, and minimal wear are all positive signs. If you notice something unusual, such as an off-center strike, a clipped planchet, a die crack, or another feature that appears to be a genuine minting error, don't assume it's valuable immediately. The smartest step is to have the coin examined by a reputable professional grading service. Authentication helps determine whether the feature is a true mint error or simply damage that occurred after the coin entered circulation. Remember one important rule, followed by experienced collectors. Never clean your coin. Cleaning may make a coin look brighter, but it can permanently damage the original surface and reduce its collector value. A naturally preserved coin is almost always preferred over a cleaned one. The 1994 P Washington quarter reminds us that coin collecting isn't just about finding old coins. It's about understanding the small details that separate an ordinary coin from one that collectors truly appreciate. Patience, knowledge, and careful observation are what make successful coin hunters stand out. That brings us to the end of coin number 2. But don't go anywhere, because coin number 1 is even more exciting and could surprise you with its history, rarity, and the features that make collectors search for it year after year. Let's move on to our number 3, Washington quarter. And now we've reached the final and most exciting coin in today's countdown, coin number 3. Before you think this is just another ordinary quarter, take a very close look. The 1989 P Washington quarter has been hiding in plain sight for decades. Millions of Americans have carried this coin in their pockets, spent it on everyday purchases, or tossed it into jars without ever realizing that some examples deserve a much closer inspection. At first glance, there's nothing unusual about this quarter. On the obverse, you'll find the familiar portrait of George Washington, a design that has represented America's first president for generations. Turn it over, and you'll see the majestic eagle with outstretched wings, one of the most recognizable reverse designs in U.S. coin history. The small P mint mark tells us this coin was struck at the Philadelphia Mint, one of the busiest mints in the United States. In 1989, hundreds of millions of these quarters were produced, making them common in circulation. Because of that, most people assume every 1989 P quarter is worth only 25 cents. But experienced collectors know something that many people don't. The value of a coin isn't determined only by its date. A coin's condition, strike quality, originality, and any genuine mint errors all play an important role in determining whether collectors are willing to pay more than face value. Over the years, most 1989 P quarters were heavily used. They picked up scratches, worn edges, faded details, and countless contact marks. Finding one today with brilliant original mint luster and very sharp details is becoming much more difficult than many people realize. That's why collectors carefully examine every 1989 P quarter they come across. A coin preserved in exceptional mint state condition can attract much stronger collector interest than a worn example. And if that coin also displays a verified mint error, it becomes even more fascinating to the numismatic community. But here's something every collector should remember. Not every unusual-looking coin is a mint error. Damage that happened after the coin left the mint, such as scratches, dents, or corrosion, doesn't usually make a coin more valuable. Learning to tell the difference between true mint errors and ordinary damage is one of the most important skills in coin collecting. So before you spend your next 1989 P Washington quarter, take a closer look. What seems like an ordinary pocket coin today could turn out to be the most interesting coin in your collection. In the next part, we'll uncover the features, condition, and genuine mint errors that collectors search for when evaluating a 1989 P Washington quarter. Now that we've explored the history of the 1989 P Washington quarter, let's discover what collectors actually look for when one of these coins appears in a collection. The first step is to inspect the coin under bright light. A small magnifying glass can help reveal details that are easy to miss with the naked eye. Carefully examine the date, the P mint mark, the lettering, and the fine details in George Washington's hair. Then flip the coin over and study the eagle's feathers, wings, and the rim. Collectors are especially interested in coins that still display their original mint luster. That bright cartwheel shine is often lost after years of circulation, so a coin that still retains it can stand out from ordinary examples. Next comes the strike quality. Even though the Philadelphia Mint produced millions of these quarters, not every coin was struck with the same sharpness. A fully struck coin with crisp details is usually more desirable than one with weakly defined features. Another reason collectors search through rolls of 1989 P quarters is the possibility of finding a genuine mint error. While these are uncommon, authenticated examples such as off-center strikes, clipped planchets, die cracks, strike-through errors, or other verified minting mistakes can attract much greater collector interest than normal circulation coins. However, it's important to remember that not every unusual mark is an error. Damage caused after the coin left the mint, such as scratches, dents, environmental corrosion, or polishing, does not usually increase value. That's why experienced collectors compare their coins carefully and often rely on professional authentication before drawing conclusions. One mistake many beginners make is cleaning old coins. Although a cleaned coin may look shiny, collectors generally prefer coins with untouched original surfaces. Cleaning can permanently reduce a coin's collector appeal. If you ever find a 1989 P quarter that looks unusually well preserved or appears to have a genuine minting error, store it safely in a protective holder and avoid unnecessary handling. Small details can make a big difference in the collecting world. We've reached the final coin of today's countdown, and now comes the biggest question. Could a 1989p Washington quarter be hiding in your pocket right now? The answer is simple. Most 1989p quarters are worth only their face value of 25 cents, but coins preserved in outstanding mint state condition or those with authenticated mint errors can be much more desirable to collectors. That's why experienced collectors never judge a coin by its date alone. They carefully examine its condition, strike quality, originality, and any unusual features before deciding whether it deserves a place in their collection. If you believe you've found an exceptional example, don't clean it and don't rush to sell it. The best step is to have the coin authenticated and graded by a respected professional grading service. A professional grade helps confirm the coin's condition and whether any unusual features are genuine mint errors. Coin collecting isn't about luck alone. It's about knowledge, patience, and paying attention to the small details that most people overlook. The 1989p Washington quarter is a perfect reminder that even an ordinary-looking coin can become a fascinating collectible when it survives in exceptional condition. That brings us to the end of today's top 3 Washington quarter dollar coins. Which coin surprised you the most? Let me know in the comments below. If you enjoyed today's video, don't forget to like, subscribe to American Old Coins News, and turn on the notification bell so you never miss our next rare coin discovery. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. Happy coin hunting!